legendary, baby. Jeff Davis Show. Worldwide. 28 December. 2000, year of my Lord, 2018. 28 December. 2018, legendary. Jeff Davis Show, baby. Don't believe it? Google Jeff Davis Show. Google Jeff Davis Show, baby, while it's still available. Here's one of my babies, Al. Buttons is down here. We have 3 cats. We love them. They're just family here. Here's Al. He generally likes to make Alvin Neil Davis. He generally likes to make an appearance in the legendary Jeff Davis Show. Come here, Buttons. Here's Buttons May Davis. It's okay, sweetie. Here's Buttons May Davis. So, and when we have Philip Neal Davis, I think he's under the table over there. So, now, Jeff Davis Show's always been a legend, is a lifelong animal lover. Dogs, cats. I even go to zoos and snake farms and stuff, and I'm enchanted by them. Now, this particular YouTube is going to be something different. I'm going to be talking about the number of years that I've been the Jeff Davis Show, or me personally, have been in front of cameras and microphones. Specifically, 20 years, almost 20 years of acting. Now, I was born in Kenner, Ohio. I was born in Ravenna, Ohio, Robinson Memorial Hospital. Grew up in Kenner, Ohio. I barely graduated Kent Roosevelt High School in 1978. But in 1976, 1977, my junior year, I was still a Kent Roosevelt student, but I took a half-a-day class at Stowe, Ohio High School called TV Media. And that was really the first introduction to the Jeff Davis Show for me, although I was the biggest goof-off in the class, literally. But over a year, half a day, there were some things I, did in front of the cameras and microphones. I was an amateur Golden Gloves boxer back in 76, 77. And I did some films on, basic punches, basic stances, like reporting on it. So really that was my first taste of cameras and microphones. In 1990, my first run for U.S. Congress in Austin, Texas, that sealed the deal for me. I've been getting in front of cameras and microphones ever since. Almost 30 years. As a congressional candidate in 1990, I was invited onto different TV shows, different like KLRU TV studios in Austin, UT campus as a congressional candidate. Different radio stations in Austin, Texas, press interviews, and I was introduced to Austin, Texas, public access television as a guest in 1990. And that pretty well sealed the deal. First off, the Austin, Texas has probably the best public access television facility in America. And from 1990 all the way to 2012, the Jeff Davis Show, baby, was having big time shows out of Channel Austin Public Access TV. worldwide shows because they were being streamed over the internet. So basically, once the congressional campaign ended, I wanted my own show. So that created the Jeff Davis Show. Started at public access TV. And basically by the time 1995, 1996, I was a TV star in Austin, Texas. I'd go out and be recognized, all the time. Then in 1995, I became a nationally syndicated radio host, actually internationally syndicated radio host. When we brought the Jeff Davis Show to the Liberty Works radio network out of Westminster, Maryland. Now, I think the WLRN is just an internet stream these days, if it's even up at all. But when the Jeff Davis Show was on, from 1995 to about 2005, it was satellite, about a dozen, maybe 25 AM, FM radio stations across America. The satellite was beaming into internet live stream and international shortwave radio. So it was nice outreach for the Jeff Davis Show, worldwide outreach. So from 1995 to 2000, I was just doing radio and TV shows out the yin yang, either as a host or a guest. Basically, if I wasn't doing a live radio or TV show that day, I wasn't happy. That's basically how I felt at that time. Now, my acting career actually began in 2000. Very interesting story. Go down in the history books. I received an email from Rami Zal, who was the decades-long owner-operator of K Hall Agency, one of the premier talent agencies in Austin, Texas. And basically the email read that Rami Zal wanted me to sign with her as talent for K Hall Agency as an actor. Well, I thought about it for a little bit and basically ignored it. In 1999, I was offered a role in Richard Linklater's Dazed and Confused animated movie, and I turned that down. So the first K Hall Agency email I ignored, and I turned down Richard Linklater, both of which, I wish I would have done differently, but it is what it is. I ended up working with Richard Linklater in the feature film Bernie, so I worked with him. Now, so Rami Zal, K-Hall, sends me this email inviting me to sign with her talent agency, and I ignored it. I was doing so many TV, radios. The reason probably why I didn't participate in Rami Zal or Linklater way back was because I was doing so much radio and television. Basically, I figured I had enough. I was in front of the cameras and microphones enough. Plus, I had absolutely no idea. I knew nothing about the entertainment industry. My time in studios in front of cameras was exposing the New World Order and crooked cops. I had done that for 10 years or 12 years before I'd even got involved in acting. So anyway, Rami Zal, I ignored her first one. Then a couple months later, I got another email from K Hall Agency. Said about the same thing. She wanted to sign me as talent for the K Hall Agency. And this time I replied. I simply wrote that, hey, I don't know anything about the entertainment industry, but if you think you can help the Jeff Davis show, then go for it. So the next thing I know, I'm being sent to auditions and different things, and which is a little bit different than live television and live radio. It's different. I mean, memorizing scripts and, playing out motions and all this stuff per a script is different from live radio and television, at least for me, because when I do live radio and television shows, I talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. There's no script that I have to memorize. Now, so I got doing these auditions, and then before you know it, I started paid acting projects. One of my first projects was a feature film with Kevin Spacey, The Life of David Gale. And then it went on to, just bam, 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 bam. And before you know it, I was working with all these, what most people would call these big time celebrity actors, tons of them. But for me, I never really had even heard of most of them until I worked with them, because I didn't follow the Grammys and the Oscars and the Emmys and all that shit. I was fighting the satanic forces that rule planet Earth. Some of the actors I've worked with and directors, Spike Lee in 25th Hour, Edward Norton, 25th Hour, William Hurt, Gael Garcia Bernal, Mike Judge, Matthew McConaughey, Lindsay Lohan. I worked with director Richard Linklater, director Robert Rodriguez, and director, who's the other director out of Austin? Well, I worked with those two, both out of Austin. Danny Trejo, a couple of films with Danny Trejo. Just tons of them. I don't even remember half of them. But for the first 4 or 5 years, I kind of fell a little bit out of like a fish out of water. Being around people that were supposedly stars, and personally, I wasn't star-stricken, because I'm all about the Jeff Davis show, baby. And so, and then just the whole thing about reading scripts and, doing what directors tell you to do. And so about the first 4 or 5 years, I felt a little bit like a fish out of water. But the last 7 or 8 years, I've come to recognize that the Jeff Davis show is far more important than any actors or directors or sports athletes or even politicians or media hacks or world religions. The Jeff Davis show is it, baby. It's the only place on planet Earth that tells it like it is. My advocacy record is near perfect, opposing every wars, exposing cop crimes for decades. The money system, which I'm going to get into. So, last 7 or 8 years, it comes down to this. When I do an acting gig, it doesn't matter who I'm working with what actors, what directors, who are the people who are around me, or what role I'm playing. When the Jeff Davis Show, baby, walks onto a TV set, a radio station, or a film set. When the Jeff Davis Show walks on set, baby, I'm it. I own that space. Period. So, and two of the reasons why I feel that way, I explained this to my wife. Number one, for nearly 25 years, it was the Jeff Davis Show, radio and TV, nationally, international, and I was it. When I walked into the station or the studio, TV studio, I was director and host. I controlled all content. I was it, baby. Director and host. After a while, I think that starts to build into you. That when you walk into the room, baby, you're it. Now, number two, the reason why I feel this, and probably, and the most important, is because I've completed roughly 100 acting projects for 18 years. I became AFTRA eligible in 2004, so I received that AFTRA pay. And all those paychecks I received as an actor, I was paid with this. Devaluing Federal Reserve notes. Now, devaluing Federal Reserve notes affect the economy, are negative on the economy in so many ways. They create inflation because as they devalue, companies have to increase their prices to cover the loss of the paper money. And they create swings in financial markets. These paper currencies by foreign bankers, not us. That's what the entertainment industry's paid with. Every paycheck I ever got was paid with these things, which tells me that the entire entertainment industry in America is expendable. And it is. Which means all the big time actors, expendable. All the big time sports athletes, expendable. Politicians, expendable. Media hacks, expendable. World religions, expendable. All expendable, baby. To the world order. They can technically, potentially, these things could be declared worthless. Not just in America, but all over the world. And then you've got world famine, and they're already doing that in Yemen and Iraq and Afghanistan and who the hell knows where's else. So, I'm an actor that understands that. All these other actors, I don't give a damn how many followers they have on Twitter or how many of these they have in their bank accounts. I know something that they probably don't know. They're expendable. So, for those two reasons, director and host of the legendary Jeff Davis Show for 25 years, controlled all content, and the fact that I'm an actor with real knowledge, basically how the world is being fleeced by things like this paper money here and other things. But So that's why when I do an acting gig, baby, I'm it. Period. When I go anywhere, I just did a cameo appearance on the Trailer Park Show, public access TV down here in Austin. I walk in there, baby, and I'm it. Period. It doesn't matter who's in there, how many people's in there. I'm it. Jeff Davis Show walked in the house, baby. Now, finally, I haven't really been pursuing acting projects here recently. And I'm just going to come straight out with it. I'm waiting, watching, and working for the $10 million role or $20 million role. Federal Reserve notes, 10 million of them, or 20 million of them. The Jeff Davis Show deserves it. The Jeff Davis Show has the talent to execute it. And that's it. There's nothing better than the Jeff Davis Show. It's the only real news you're going to get. These politicians aren't going to save you. The media's not going to save you. The organized religions aren't going to save you. Sports heroes and actors aren't going to save you. The Jeff Davis Show is providing the information. The phone's ringing. The Jeff Davis Show is providing the information. Pete, hold on a minute, folks. Alright, takes care of that. Now, Google Jeff Davis Show while it's still available.
We're sorry, your call did not go through. Will you please try your call again? We're sorry.
Okay. Got it off the hook now. Okay, so the Jeff Davis Show is legendary. Not only for the God-given talent and the wisdom, but for the information. It's the only place in the world that I've seen that provides. The Jeff Davis Show is not going to save you like any of this other shit. But the information that the Jeff Davis Show provides is the information required by the world masses to save themselves. Like little things like how they're being fleeced with shit like this. So, Google Jeff Davis Show, baby, while it's still available. You don't know in these world order times we live in. This whole thing could be shut down. The Dow's tumbling. Bankers are doing something behind the scenes, only they know. It's not trade or investor uneasiness, or it's manipulation of this shit and interest rates and all the other schemes they do in their little secret Fed meetings. So, that's the information people need. So with that, baby, finally, let me just say, I had some questions back in 2000. Should I pursue acting? After I got these emails from K-Hall Agency. My wife said I shouldn't pursue it. So I asked other people, and I got some, well, you should pursue it, and, some forget it. As of 2018, the Jeff Davis Show can report that pursuing acting was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my lifetime. It's like picking Karen as my wife. I've made money at it. I've got worldwide exposure with it in these feature films, and I've worked in TV series, NBC, ABC, HBO. I've done local commercials here in Austin. Sometimes I'm sitting there, I've seen myself. So I'm sitting here watching the TV. Next thing you know, pew, Jeff Davis show, baby. Custom sounds, commercials, or I actually did. I was featured, baby. I did a commercial for the famous Salt Lick Barbecue down here in Austin, Texas, and one of the filming scenes, there was about 3 or 4 cameras around me, just bam, 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 all over me. At the same time, I was dining on Salt Lick Barbecue brisket burnt ends, savoring my taste buds. So you got all these cameras on me while I'm eating these delicious Salt Lick Barbecue burnt ends. Folks, it don't get too much better than that for the Jeff Davis Show. So, my concluding comment is, as of right now, 2018, I can honestly report that my acting career so far, so good. I made the right decision to pursue it with people like K. Hall, Rami Zoll, actively recruited me. The first time I talked to Rami Zoll over the phone, she asked me to call her. And she says, you don't even have to audition. See, most people, when they want to sign with a talent agency, they have to audition. She said to me over the phone, you don't even have to audition. She said, she can't dispute all my radio and television. And that was it, baby. I signed the paperwork. Yep, acting so far, so good. Glad it was the right decision. God led me in the right path. See what happens next, baby. So, 28 December, year of my Lord, 2018, baby. Legendary. Jeff Davis Show, baby, worldwide. It don't get no better than this. Google Jeff Davis Show. If you don't believe legendary, Google it. Google Jeff Davis Show while it's still available, baby. Best news and information on planet Earth. The information the world masses need to save themselves. Period. So with that, baby, legendary Jeff Davis Show, 28 December 2018. Peace out, baby.